à tous et à toutes et bienvenue sur Narlex in Game. On se retrouve aujourd'hui pour peut-être le dernier épisode de Thronebreaker. Et nous allons donc commencer par traverser le pont.
When Meve saw Reynard's usually stoic visage rent by a half-moon grin, she knew he brought particularly good news.
Your Grace, our toil has borne fruit. The liberated towns of Rivia have hired an outfit of mercenaries conveyed to your command, along with wishes for a speedy victory.
Meve cast an eye over the long column of hired soldiers, taking in their top-notch arms and battle-hardened faces. Her gaze lingered longer on their banners, surprised to see some bearing the Caldwell crest, suggesting Dragomir had proven worthy of the trust she had extended him.
With support like this to bolster our ranks, our way grows easier,
said the Queen with a smile.
Send the townsmen a letter. Say their queen thanks them for their devotion to the realm, and when the time comes, she shall reward them fittingly.
Ça c'est bien. Bon, je pense que là, ça va être l'heure de la grosse bataille. Très très grosse bataille. 1142 soldats. Je peux pas récupérer là? Ah si, j'allais dire. Rêve de dragon. Tiens, je vais aller voir un peu. C'est où quoi? Hop. Alors, le rêve de dragon. Ça. Après 5 tours, à la fin du tour, détruisez 3 ennemis aléatoires. Ok. D'accord. Ça doit être pas mal comme ça. Ça doit être sympa. Bon, voilà, c'est la quête de... Bon, j'ai oublié quelques petites ressources. C'est pas grave, ça.
The castle of Rivia now loomed before the Lyrians. Water surrounded it on 3 sides, and dual defensive walls studded with podgy turrets completed its perimeter. It was famously difficult to take, and had changed hands only once, a few months before, when traitors opened its gates to the Nilfgaardians.
Ouais.
Foreign banners waved upon the walls.
Bah ouais.
The Golden Sun and General Epdahi's crest on Rivia's walls. The walls of home. There was somber silence among the troops, the glee and pride of many triumphs suddenly gone. For each knew if the Queen ordered an assault, most would lie dead by sunrise.
Your Majesty,
Began Reynard in a reassuring tone.
we needn't strike quickly. We've time on our side. To prepare would be wise. 2 months, I wager, perfectly enough. We stop supplies from getting through. They'll capitulate, I've little doubt. Or at worst, be too weak to defend the fortress.
Reynard's reasoning was sound. There was no need for urgency. Meve had the upper hand for the first time in this war.
These invaders have grown fond of Rivia Castle,
Said Meve.
so let them stay and rot. Reynard, erect road barricades and guard posts between city and citadel. Gascon, seize all boats, barges, anything that floats. Stop anything from entering from the lake. Move!
Soon Rivia Castle stood isolated from the world outside its walls. All roads leading to it were blocked, impassable. Fishing boats, a cordon, embraced the fortress on Loch Escalot. The lanterns on their bows glowed like fireflies in summer. Then, an emissary from the castle brought a message for the Queen. General Epdahi wished to meet, face to face, and half the way between the citadel and the Lyrian camp.
Well, well, some general.
Smirked Gascon.
We've barely snapped the trap shut, yet he's already shaking in his knickers.
Meve proceeded to the meeting point without delay. A lone rider soon appeared on the horizon. He came adorned in rich black robes, their golden trim shimmering in stray sunbeams. She'd seen him before, in Edirn, through the megascope.
You came as I requested. Good. Very good.
I couldn't possibly refuse such a courteous
oui.
invitation. Especially as compared to your previous missive. The art of diplomacy, you've improved your grasp.
Your realm fell quickly. I expended little strength in seizing it. This left me much time to study. But please, we must set aside this bitterness. I'd like to formally welcome you to Rivia,
Oula,
dear
mais
queen.
qu'est-ce que...
I see you've readily adopted the role of gracious host in my home.
In point of fact, I've grown fond of the castle. Fortifications impressive, atypical of the north. Not so your brave soldiers, whom we shall pick off like ducks. I pity them, in fact.
Dry your eyes, General. Rest easy. I've no plans for a quick assault. I shall first wait to hear the rumbling in your bellies.
Remarkable. You truly believe you can win this war?
Bah yes.
I've not been in the north long, but have discovered something all the same. You don't grasp complex ideas. You know
Je sais qu'elle est
Nilfgaard
grande.
is large, but your minds don't fathom its enormity. You see, for every army you defeat, another will come to take its place. One larger and better equipped than the one before. Even now, as we so
Oh,
pleasantly
que c'est beau.
chat, Army Group East is en route to lift your siege, due to arrive tomorrow. And do you know what will happen when they do? They will crush you against your own castle's walls, like the maddening flea you are.
Alors...
Enough. I'll not be insulted, General, nor intimidated.
Then I wish you a splendid night, Majesty. Get some rest.
Regarde-moi
You'll
ce
need
salaud.
it tomorrow.
Indeed I will. For with raised visor I shall be at the fore, unlike you.
In my home, in the civilized world, a general commands his force. He does not rush and thrash about like some rabid hound.
You're not at home, General. You're in the north, in my home. But you're right, I will rest. While you should pray to all your gods that we don't meet amidst the fray.
Without awaiting a response from General Dahi, Neve pivoted and turned toward camp. Her pace was quick, despite a heavy heart.
Ouh. Sérieux là? Je suis où là? La map. J'ai pas de map. Bon. Ça a été... J'ai pas de map? Non. D'accord. Putain, c'est le camp qu'ils ont fait. C'est fat en fait.
Gonna be one hell of a night! Ah! Ah! Ah!
Et lol. Putain, il y en a des troupes, hein. Oh là là.
Many will die today. Too many. Let us hope this proves the war to end all wars.
Bah je pense, j'espère quand même. Bon, on va devoir réfléchir. Putain. Oh lolo.
Meve's closest advisors already awaited her in the command tent. In a few brief words, the Queen gave a report of the meeting, only with great effort masking the quavering in her voice.
An army, an immense one, approaches from the west. If we meet in open battle, we stand not a chance.
Jouer les coups de pute.
Damn it! Why did no one warn me?
Our scouts were discovered, captured.
We must flee? Not at all heroic, I admit, but sure as hell better than being trampled into the dirt.
Easily said, but for a problem. Our force is chiefly infantry. The army that draws near includes cavalry, several regiments.
Ok, donc dans tous les cas,
We
il va
cannot
falloir
hope
se
to
battre.
escape them.
What do you advise?
We've two options. Capitulate,
Non.
Out of the question.
Voilà.
or take the castle. Tonight.
Suppose for a moment it's possible. Tell me how and at what cost. Are we to scale a mountain of comrades' corpses to reach the top of the wall? I know we're at war and many die. But to command our troops to take that citadel is to condemn them to certain death.
Riviera's walls are unassailable, I fully agree. But there's more than one way to take any fort, and
I think I like where this is going.
I know this citadel like no one else. I know its one potential weakness.
Les débarcadères.
Wait. That narrowest of piers between the two turrets? The one where the fishermen would land?
The same. As I'm sure you recall, Your Grace, at that narrow pier's end stands a narrow door leading straight into the fortress.
Ouais, mais si c'est gardé...
A small detachment could approach unnoticed, overwhelm any sentries, and get inside.
What then?
Bah, ouvrir les portes.
They would need to pass through the fort to the winch in the guardhouse, open the gate for the rest of the force.
Reynard, I'll be honest. It sounds right mad.
Bah ouais, mais je me dis pourquoi pas.
Perhaps, but as options go, we have it alone.
And I'm to choose to send folk there? Most certainly to die.
You needn't choose anyone, for I volunteer, and will take only those willing to do the very same.
Bloody wretched plan.
And you've a better one, do you?
Of course. I'll go instead.
Beg your pardon?
Face it, Reynard, you couldn't sneak past a corpse. Sound like a bloody tambourine in that armour. Apart from which, you're Maeve's right hand. So you ought to be by her side when the fighting starts.
Firstly, Reynard, I'm grateful. Well done, my friend.
Thank you, Your Grace.
But truth be told, I did indeed hear you walking to the tent from the other side of camp. And yes, you know Rivia Castle better than anyone else. But the assault must transpire silently.
Understood, Your Grace.
Cheers, Maeve. I'll try not to disappoint.
You won't, I'm sure. God speed you on your way, and please, try your damnedest not to die.
Gaston hand-picked his men, those most adept with daggers, not swords. Noiselessly, they glided through the dark toward the castle, the light of its lanterns blurred by the evening mist. Maeve watched anxiously as the boats glided away, her heart pounding in her ears. All depended on this mission. The fate of her realms, perhaps all the north, the lives of her troops, and her own. Now there was naught she could do but wait.
Good luck,
She whispered, gazing at the fortress walls, cloaked by the dark that seemed to surround all now. The Lyrians prepared for battle, their silence absolute, in darkness, illuminated only by the pale light of the moon. Maeve was restless. She paced nervously in a circular pattern, awaiting the signal they'd agreed upon.
Blast, it's taking long. Much, much too long.
Finally, a torch's faint glow appeared atop the towering walls. It disappeared, then glowed again, and one more time around. Maeve leapt in the air, and moments later, Lyrians in the hundreds burst from the trees. The Nilfgaardian defenders loaded their catapults and ballistae. They did so slowly, convinced the castle walls remained impenetrable. Then they heard chains, grinding and clinking, and the sound sent shivers down their spines. Bewildered, they watched the main gate rise as the attacking force rushed forth. General Epdahi dispatched an elite unit to take back the winch at once. Yet he saw this was in vain and all was lost when Maeve rode into the castle courtyard. Maeve had begun the day known as a great warrior. Yet by night's end, legend was the cloak she wore. Her shield stopped powerful blow after blow as her blade found gaps in her foe's black armor. At first, Nilfgaardians scoured the fray in search of the Queen, hoping to prove great heroes. Soon, she was their chief scourge, and they began to flee before her blade that sung their death.
Retreat! Retreat!
What was this extraordinary vigor that surged through Maeve? Naturally, she wished to liberate her castle and realm, drive off the invaders, defeat the arrogant General Epdahi. But in that moment, above all else, she longed to fight her way through to the guardhouse and bring Gascon's party relief.
Follow me! Move! Move!
Meve had expected the worst, a bloodbath, piles of corpses. Yet all in the guardhouse was eerily quiet and calm. The door to the winch room lay shattered, true, but this was the one sign there'd been any sort of struggle.
C'est bizarre ça.
What happened here? She thought. Cautiously, she entered, looking, searching for any trace of Gascon and his fighters. Instead, she spotted Willem, curled up in a corner, clutching his bloodied belly, his fingers not enough to stop all the holes. Meve tore off her cloak and went to stem the bleeding.
Willem, what happened here?
My wrongs. I sought to right them.
Wheezed the prince.
Please, forgive me.
The young prince choked on this last word, did not manage to utter it, before his eyes went dull. Moments later, her men entered the room to find the queen kneeling, pounding the wall with her fists, her eyes flooded with tears. Gascon pushed his way through the other foot soldiers. He knelt beside the queen and whispered what had happened. His unit had not managed to reach the gate in time, but Willem had. Upon seeing Lyrian forces converging on the fort, the prince had rushed to the guardhouse and opened the gate himself. By the time Nilfgaardians closed it again, it was too late. The Lyrians were through. The queen rose, her fists clenched, her shoulders rigid, her knuckles white. Her face betrayed no sorrow, no despair, just rage, hot as a forge, immeasurable.
Now's not the time to mourn.
Seethed Meve, struggling to stay calm.
Now's the time for war, for slaughter, revenge. With victory today, we'll recover our home, return to our kin and set our blades aside at last. Yet until victory is ours, they must drink. Drink greedily of Nilfgaardian blood!
The Lyrians were at the brink, near their breaking point. They'd followed Meve for thousands of miles, over snow-clad peaks, through forbidding swamps. They'd fought, survived countless battles at her side, and though their gazes were now weary, she knew they'd follow her into fire.
Your Grace, the Blackclads, they've holed themselves up in the upper keep. We went to breach the wall, alas to no avail.
Meve nodded, twirled her sword, then leapt upon a mount. Her eyes spoke pure determination.
So we'll bloody well try again.
Ouh, il y a le combat. Enfin, bataille histoire, bataille standard. Sur 2 rounds, le donjon, va falloir détruire... comment je vais faire? That is a good question. Allez, on dégage ça. On dégage ça, ça, ouais, ça me plaît, ça, je m'en fous. Tous.
This is the end, Epdahi. Do you hear me? I shall stick your head on a pike!
Vas-y, les envoie ta sauce. Je vais te trucider la tête.
Evil ass.
Broken. Intéressant. Si je peux jouer ça juste derrière, je vais faire un petit combo. Ça peut être sympa.
I must thank you. Your fortress has superbly solid walls.
Mais oui. C'est bien ça. Ça c'est moins bien. Alors. Déjà. Ensuite.
Hi ho, hi ho.
Allez hop, remonte. vois les flammes. Ouais, c'est tout. Ça va.
Are you mad? Don't shake that!
J'arrive à bien frapper là.
God!
Faut pas que je bouge.
Wanna know why I've got my scar? Enough! I do not need to hear this. Kill her!
Ça j'aime pas non plus. Bon allez, faut que je passe. Faut que je passe, bordel.
Oh, Lyrian lummoxes.
Putain de bœuf quoi. Voilà, c'est bon. Putain, c'est chaud. Au moins j'ai la première manche.
I'm
Maintenant, je vais
surrounded by
tout
fools!
donner. J'ai du feu. Une carte a changé.
Left, right, left, right.
Ça va être tendu. Scorpion lourd.
It's not too late to walk away.
Looking to dance, mate?
Ça fait rien. Forcément. Est-ce que je vais réussir à tenir ces tours? Ouais. Je pense que oui. Donc je jouerai celle-là après. D'abord.
Again and again and again.
Il va me sortir sa carte de brun là aussi. Ah, attendez celle-là.
This could hurt.
Ever have a storm knock out one of your teeth?
Allez, ça je vais attendre.
Barbarians.
Activer. Oh dommage.
Wait!
Voilà, déjà il y a les 3, je peux me déplacer.
May disgrace ends here! Time I wiped it away! Archers, let it be night. Obscure the sun with arrows.
Bah oui.
Big I'm up here!
Allez, là, vas-y. Est-ce que tu vas réussir à faire quelque chose, mon gars, ou pas? Parce que là, t'es pas prêt. Hein.
Hellcats!
Je pense que c'est bon. Ouais, de toute façon, je vais la récupérer cette carte.
Her Majesty knows what she's doing.
Water. That's a poison.
Ha! Lunaficus! Give me some of that!
Don't need no weapon! Death is only the beginning! Go, hop, hop!
Je vais faire battre lui. Allez, pourquoi pas ça et ça.
What you looking at?
Nothing personal, I assure you.
Vas-y, vas-y, hein, on voit tes cartes. Là, je les attends.
Farmahagam!
Je peux pas aller plus loin? Non, c'est bien dommage. Allez. Normalement, c'est le win. Il pourra tout faire. Il faut faire ce qu'il veut. C'est mort. C'est mort. On peut plus là. 800, on peut plus.
My prescription, a bit of bloodletting.
Moi, je ne soigne pas la sorcière.
A highly curious case.
Il est quand même à 25 morts, je suis qu'à 12 morts. 13.
Off to the front yet again.
Scheiß! In zwei!
Off to the front yet again.
I warned you!
Where is he? Tell me where!
Et ben voilà. Victory.
Nilfgaard had the upper hand, yet the black-clad spirits had suffered. They now made more use of shields than of swords. When Meve finally broke through their line, they raised their arms in surrender. Rivia Castle had fallen. It was hers once more.
Trocker! Nein zu Wien!
Meve showed her prisoners of war mercy, knowing full well they'd only followed orders. Death would be the fate of only Ardal ep Dahi, the one Nilfgaardian who'd issued those commands. Alas, the general had disappeared.
Quoi?
A prisoner revealed ep Dahi had fled as soon as the Lyrians had surged towards the upper keep. He had glided down to the lower castle in a wicker basket for transporting food. Curled up beneath potato skins and other scraps, he'd scurried away not unlike a common maggot. Meve cursed her luck and leaned back against a merlin. Dawn was yet a few hours off, but the horizon had already begun to glow blood red. The Nilfgaardian reserves now drew near, too late to prevent the castle's fall.
I'll get him.
Muttered the queen, more to herself than anyone else.
I swear on all that's sacred I'll catch the bastard. But now we've a pressing matter to see to.
Ouais.
Preparing the defense.
Ouais.
That night the war turned, with the battle for Rivia Castle as its fulcrum. Meve's great victory, not only retaking the stronghold in a single evening, but also fending off a further invading army, proved the Nilfgaardian Colossus had feet of clay.
Et bim.
The armies of the north had united and now seemed to be on the attack everywhere. Imperial forces, while still far more numerous, lay stretched over thousands of miles. Their position was untenable, and Nilfgaard's commanders knew this. In a decisive battle they yet stood a chance, so they gave said battle, and suffered a resounding defeat. Just a few months on from that memorable night in Rivia, the Imperial army was in utter disarray. Aldersburg, the fortress, remained a last point of resistance. General ep Dahi and what had survived of Army Group East had dug in there, this place, where Nilfgaard had triumphed grandly in the war's early days, would now bear witness to its impending defeat. It seems history, after all, has a sense of justice, or humor, or both. Though Meve had already reclaimed her realm, she refused to retire her sword just yet. For King Demavend had requested her aid in purging Edirn of the invader. How could she refuse? She owed the king a favor, firstly. Yet she also had a burning desire to settle the score with ep Dahi.
Demavend's envoy and I spoke, Your Majesty. The king has Aldersburg surrounded. He awaits and won't begin the assault till you arrive.
Ah d'accord, donc on retourne encore
Good.
sur une nouvelle map.
I
Enfin, une
truly
nouvelle
hate
map,
to
là,
miss it.
Avant, mais...
Tell the troops to prepare. Gear and ire.
Of course, Your Grace.
Yes? Is there something else?
Pardon my boldness, Your Grace, but I can't help but be concerned. You don't
quand même.
sleep. You've the air of illness about you.
Reynard, I just buried my son, who died in my arms, God damn it.
Yes. Died a hero, Your Majesty. I wasn't sure Willem could ever wash away the shame. He'd betrayed his country, his mother, aligned with the fiercest of our foes. But his actions in Rivia washed away his wrongs. Willem showed himself worthy to be called your son. I don't say any of this to deepen your grief, Your Majesty. I mean merely for you to be proud of him.
You're right. I thank you,
c'est vrai.
Reynard.
C'est vrai,
That
c'est
I
vrai.
needed to
Bon,
hear.
c'était qu'un gamin, hein.
We've talked enough. We must march on to Aldersburg.
Du coup... Eh ben... Pou. Bon, ça va être court, je pense. Mais il y a encore peut-être des casse-têtes, peut-être d'autres petites choses intéressantes à faire. Bon écoutez, merci d'avoir regardé cette vidéo. Et on se dit à une prochaine, bien sûr. Mais par contre, n'oubliez pas de mettre un j'aime et de vous abonner. Allez, bye bye.